continuation to what we learned yesterday. We started off a letter of the Rebbe explaining his view on this, that the state of Israel, Jewish people going to Israel, that many Yidden went out to Israel, this is not in any way the beginning of the redemption. It's not anything like that. The Rebbe explains like this. The first point the Rebbe says is that when you're having a conflict, you have to make sure that you both hold that certain things is considered proof. If you don't consider something as proof, because you don't hold of it as a source, what does it help to prove you that it says in the Torah when someone doesn't believe in the Torah? So now that I was writing, I see the person that I'm writing to you believe in the Torah. So now let's see, what's Torah's view on the idea of Galus? This that the Jewish people went into Galus it's not for any political reasons, and it's not for war or army reasons. That's not why we went into Galus, and that's not what made the Galus. What made the Galus is, just 1 second, I'm going to do like this with your hands. You could do 2 fingers or like this or whatever. Because whatever, you're not meant to do it like that for several reasons, but yeah, I'll explain it later. So this that we ran into Galus is nothing to do, it's not for any political reason or army reasons. Rather, this that the Jewish people were not connected to Torah and mitzvahs. If the Jewish people would have been connected to Torah and mitzvahs, no army in the world and no political power would be able to send us into Galus and kick us out of the land of Eretz Yisrael. Because we did not do Torah and mitzvahs, that's why we went into Galus. This is what it says in many parshas of Torah. It says when you don't do Torah and mitzvahs, you get kicked out of the land. You do Torah and mitzvahs, you're going to be in the land of Eretz Yisrael. Nothing to do with how strong any other army in the world is and how small your army is, or Gashmistic energy you have. Power doesn't make a difference. Which means you're going to add in winning wars, you're going to add in having political power that is not going to change in any way the status of the Jewish people's redemption or exile, or preparation for redemption or exile. What made the exile? This that we were not connected to Torah and mitzvahs. That sent us into Galus. How do we know if something has to do with redemption or not? Is to see.
The reason we sent the Galus because of sin of Tina.
Of that's an Aveda. We did not do the mitzvah of Avos Yisrael. Or other parts of Galus.
Because the sins, or we didn't do enough mitzvahs?
Sins. We did sins. We say in davening galinu ma'aretzeinu. We were not connected. Both. It's a sin not to do Torah and mitzvahs. So if we are connected to Torah and mitzvahs, that brings redemption. That takes away the cause. Galus is a effect of the cause. What's the cause? The cause is not to do Torah and mitzvahs. So that cause is, that creates. What's the effect of that? That we're in Galus. So when we connect ourselves to Torah and mitzvahs, what's the effect of that? That we have Moshiach. That will take away the state of Galus that's created by not doing what Hashem wants, and that makes Moshiach. And this is what the Rambam writes. The Rebbe says we see this in the words of the Rambam. So not everyone has time and power to learn all the Gemaras, all the Midrashim, all the Psukim, all the everything, but there are certain Svarim that summarize, that make it easy for anyone that doesn't have time to go through this whole thing in length. He has it short, summarized, condensed, straight to the point, and the Rebbe says, who does that? The Rambam. This is what the Rambam writes. The Rebbe says, I'm going to quote exactly what he writes, and I'm going to add a few short words in between just to explain the meaning of certain words, and with some introductory comments. So first of all, who is the Baradai Yisrael B'Teirish B'Ksav V'Shabal Peh Shagula Tov Yaladei Hamelach HaMashiach. First of all, the Rebbe says it's explained enough and more than enough in Teirish B'Ksav, in the written Torah, B'Teirish B'Shabal Peh, in the Gemaras, in the Midrashim, in the oral Torah. Shagula, that the redemption is going to come specifically through Melech HaMashiach. The Gula cannot take place without a Melech HaMashiach. Only the Melech HaMashiach will bring the Gula. This is the way that Rambam himself says this straight out, and he makes this proclamation. But that Slulo Bruda, in a very paved path and very clear, he says this. He says this in the last part of his whole entire Sefer Mishnah Torah. So if this is the last part of his book, this is also like the Chosemis. This is like the stamp from his whole Sefer. The part of the laws of kings. Over there, the Rama writes, in the beginning of chapter 11. First of all, in the beginning of chapter 11, he says that the king Moshiach specifically will bring the redemption. It says Seder Ketzed Zayikra. At the end of the chapter, he is very precise in saying the order exactly how this will take place, this redemption. How is it going to be? What's the order? He says precisely, exactly. He's very precise in every word he says and the way he says it. This book of the Rambam is not some philosopher from some type of a philosophic work. This is a book of law. This is a book that says straight to the point exactly the way things needs to be. The Rambam is not saying some nice philosophy, maybe this way, maybe that way. He's saying exactly literally in this physical world, how is it going to take place? The terms that the Rambam uses, he chooses it precisely, and straight to the point. He doesn't get on to all these nice, philosophy. He's saying exactly the way he means what he says. With no drushes, with no side, just stop saying words for nothing, just saying unmeaningful words just to make it look nice. No, he means exactly, literally, halacha l'maisa, exactly the way this. There's not a goddess, there's not midrashim, this is not nice talk. This is the way it must be. This is a book of halacha. And this is the way that Rambam clearly sets up exactly the way the Gula is going to be. This is the words of the Rambam. If a king will arise from the house of David, that he personally himself toils in Torah, and he's occupied in the fulfillment of its mitzvahs, just like David his father. According to the written Torah, according to the oral Torah, to both parts of the Torah. For Yaakov Kol Yisrael, and he will force all of the Jewish people to go in the ways of the Torah and strengthen its cracks, its breaches. And he will fight the wars of God. There is a chazaka that this person is Moshiach. Says the Rebbe, and the Rebbe explains, Lahoir, I'd like to point out, this is not a certain sign, even after he does all of this, there's no certainty that the Gula has already begun. Because all of this can take place when the Jewish people are still in exile. So even when the King Messiah rises and he starts doing his Pu'ulos, he himself is toiling in Torah and mitzvahs, forcing all the Jewish people to do Torah and mitzvahs. He's fighting the wars of God, and you can already know, says the Rambam, that this person could be that he's the Mashiach. But nevertheless, all of this happens in the time of Galus, when the Jewish people are still in exile, and we do not know that the redemption, there's no sign, does not mean the redemption has begun.
Does it mean king?
Doesn't mean literally king, it means he acts like a king. Says the Rambam. The Rambam continues, if after all of this, he fulfills all of these things. Doesn't only want to fulfill it, but he actually fulfills everything, and he's successful. And all what we mentioned before, that means He wins all the wars. So King Moshiach wins over all the wars, over all the enemies all around that it's Yisrael. V'kofas kol am Yisrael ilmid Torah. Or the second is a bit kind of even more than that. All the Jewish people are already forced to fulfill Torah and mitzvahs, to go in the way of Torah and mitzvahs. Says that Rambam, maybe now I can know that maybe we have a beginning of the redemption. Maybe we can say that here, look, he wins over all the Goyim. All the Yidden are doing Torah and mitzvahs. Maybe the Gula has started with this. Says that Rambam, no. We're still not certain that he is for sure 1,000,000% brought to the days of Mashiach, that he is the Mashiach, that the redemption has begun. No. If we need, there's a necessity for him to fulfill another sign, another thing. He needs to build the Beis HaMikdash in its place. Maybe now we know that he's builds the Beis HaMikdash in its place. Where is this? Like it's understood that what does the Rambam mean? Where is he building the Beis HaMikdash in its place? In the holy city of Yerushalayim. Now this, that he builds the Beis HaMikdash. Could you imagine? Imagine. Use your imagination. Moshiach forces all the new Torah mitzvahs. He wins over all the Goyim. He builds the Beis HaMikdash in its place. There's for sure going to be many, many Yidden. The population in the city of Yerushalayim and in Eretz Yisrael is going to be very, very big. Right? Imagine you hear such a thing right now. The Moshiach came and he built the Beis HaMikdash. He forced all the to do Torah and mitzvahs. He did not go in the ways of Torah and mitzvahs. He wins over all the Goyim. He takes all the Hamas and all the Hezbollah and all the Arabs and all the enemies and he throws them in the ocean. And he gets rid of them. And he builds the Beis HaMikdash. Do you think that, maybe the redemption has begun now? First of all, where would you go? You would obviously go to Israel, right? You want to check it out. Do you think that the redemption has begun? With this, Rambam says, no! Even then, the redemption has not begun yet. Even if there's many Yidden in Eretz Yisrael with the Beis HaMikdash, the redemption has not begun. So the Rebbe first points out this, that he's going to build the Beis HaMikdash. This itself shows that the Jewish population is going to be very, very big. Says that Rambam, no, we are not in redemption yet. There isn't even a Yischal to the Geula. Even the beginning of the redemption has not begun yet. Achgam oz adayin einenu betochim besiyum hagalus. We're not certain that this is the end of the galus, the exile. The exile has not ended. What do we need in order to consider it to say, the exile has ended, and now we have redemption? Now we still need another thing to take place, to be fulfilled. For who? And that is, that he, the King Moshiach, will gather together all the Yidden from the whole world to Eretz Yisrael. And only then, says the Rambam, Harei zeh Moshiach bavadai, he is certainly the Moshiach. Then we say, the exile has ended, and now the redemption has begun. Only after he gathers together all the Jewish people to Israel. And this is what the Rebbe says right after this. Vadai shein tzoyrech lahoisiv parshanuyos. This is certain that he just quoted the Rambam's opinion, the halachic opinion about Mashiach. There's no need for me to add any explanations in the words of the Rambam. This is the words of the Rambam that says clearly. So Jews are going to Israel, so big deal. This does not mean that we have in any way reishis tzmichas gulatseinu because of this. No, not at all. Because even if there's many Yidden in Eretz Yisrael, with a Beis HaMikdash built, with before that winning over all the Goyim, with before that making all the new Torah mitzvahs and all of that, the Rambam still says we're in Galus. Only after he will gather together all the Jewish people to Israel, then he's Mashiach Babadai, and only then is the beginning of the redemption. According to this, all of those that say in their Siddur, when they say the Tefillah for the Shlom Medinat Yisrael, And they say the words Reishis Tzmichas Galaseinu, that this is the beginning of the sprouting of the redemption. They should know that they're making a huge mistake. And this is against halacha, against Torah. And this is called a Moshiach Sheker in the words of the Rebbe. This is a false Messiah. This is not Geula. This is not the beginning of the Geula. And the Rebbe says this means that we're going even in the darkness of God, it's a bit more than the past. And this brings to the Korbanos in Eretz Yisrael. Because when there's these false Messiah, that's what it brings. That they need to take a pen and at least those words to scribble it out and take it out of the Siddur. Now, just to say one last point. I'm just going to add one meaningful, important point, says the Rebbe. This halachic ruling of the Rambam, of the way the Gula is going to take place, and all what we just said, there is not one halachic authority that disagrees with the Rambam. There's not one halachic authority that says, oh, maybe it's different. No. Even the author of the Shulchan Aruch, which everyone acts according to the Shulchan Aruch, who's this Machaber? The Beis Yosef. Shekasav Pirush al Rambam. He wrote a commentary on the Rambam, on the whole Rambam. Koidel Perikzeh, including on this chapter, he also has a commentary. HaKesef Mishnah HaYedua. Who is this? The Kesef Mishnah, the Pirush of the Kesef Mishnah. And he writes his commentary on these chapters. He has no question on the Rambam. He doesn't say, oh, maybe it's different, maybe the Gula is going to start earlier, in an earlier stage. No! He accepts the Rambam's ruling exactly the way the Rambam says it. He accepts it fully. He accepts the Rambam's ruling. So too, there are not other commentaries that disagree with the Rambam in this halachic ruling. Which means no one in the world could come and say he's smarter than the Rambam. He's smarter than the Shulchan Aruch. This is the strongest halachic ruling regarding this idea of Mashiach and redemption. And it needs to be specifically in this way, in this order. May we merit to the revelation of the redemption and the coming of Mashiach. We should see the redemption and Mashiach in a revealed way with our physical eyes. Through this, that Mashiach should come and build the Beis HaMikdash in its place and bring all the Jewish people to Israel. And before all of this, to get rid of all the enemies of Jewish people. And may this be literally, speedily in our days, speedily in our days itself. It should be happen right away today with Hashem's help. And in today itself, it shouldn't be in a few hours. It should be in this hour and in this minute and this second. Amen. Ken Yiratzin.